Bonjour, je suis Nicolas Madelaine, je suis journaliste média aux Échos. Merci de nous rejoindre en ligne et ici pour cette 4e édition de Médias en Seine. La session qui vient sera avec Paul Hurricane, qui est responsable des opérations musicales chez TikTok pour le UK. Le Royaume-Uni. Donc, je vais maintenant passer en anglais pour parler à Paul. Et on va commencer la session. So, hi Paul.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Thank you very much for being here. You're head of music operations UK or also Europe?
UK and Europe.
UK and Europe. Okay, that's great. TikTok has passed the 1 billion user landmark, and you were telling me that it's starting to gather speed also in France. Can you talk about the presence of TikTok in France?
Sure. And just before we jump into it, I just want to say hi everyone and thank you very much for having me today. It's a real honor and I hope everyone's having a great day and learning loads from Will and all the other great speakers, so thank you. To talk about TikTok specifically and music specifically in France, it's been an incredible story. I mean, I joined TikTok 2 years ago. And as you mentioned, Nicolas, we just announced that we've crossed over the 1 billion monthly active users. And, France has been a big part of that, not just in terms of the growth of TikTok. France is one of the biggest and most important markets for TikTok in Europe. But also from a creative point of view, I think there's been just an incredible explosion of creativity from both the artistic community in France and from the users. And that's also credit to the amazing team that we've built here as well.
Can you talk us through, because we are not all millennials, but also maybe TikTok is not only followed by millennials.
TikTok's for everyone, but we'll get into this,
yes,
we'll get into
it. And so can you give us examples of virality, basically, of TikTok videos in France? Many of us know about the Fleetwood Mac video of the guy skateboarding.
Yeah.
Can you tell us examples of what has happened in France on TikTok, or other videos that have been successful here too?
Yeah, for sure. So, the way to think about TikTok is obviously that it's a community, and what brings people together and what makes TikTok such a powerful gathering point as a community is the fact that it's creative and creative ideas spread, right? That's really what I like to think is the magic part of TikTok. And within that, music is it's just such an important part of the creative process. People are inspired by music. People use music to communicate with one another. And in France, particularly, we've seen an explosion in songs that have gone viral. Relais has had incredible success on the platform. Vejden. Just today, we were just talking to a brand new emerging artist called Neige, who's having an incredible moment. So what is happening time and time again in France is, and in other countries too, but particularly in France and with the French music industry, is that songs are, inspiring people, and they're creating kind of movements around the songs, and they're creating a reason to create and come together around something, which is what we're seeing a lot of. And then on the other side of that, we're also seeing artists create more and more incredible content. So Offenbach, I don't know if anyone here follows Offenbach on TikTok. I'm getting a nod. That's awesome. they make amazing videos. So they're very creative, leaning into kind of for example, like making music at home, or just documenting their life. They're really making very creative, innovative videos that people want to watch, and they gather around.
Do you teach them how to do viral videos, or is it completely organic?
Well, we have a team. So the team that I'm part of is the music operations team, and kind of our role is kind of like twofold. One is to support and work with record labels, rights holders, and artists directly, to help them understand the platform, and also to be able to help them to kind of decode who they are as an artist, and then how to present themselves on the platform in an organic way. And then the other part of the team that I work in, that part of the team is responsible for really understanding the music trends on the platform, understanding what is inspiring the community to come together, and then kind of making sure that we're aware of it and monitoring its growth. So, for example, like sea shanty was a really famous example that kind of blew up on TikTok at the start of the year. That was a trend that kind of started on the platform and then jumped off the platform and then came back on, which was something we worked on.
And what is the trend, for example, today or last week? What has been the trend of the type of videos that was going viral? Is it? Can you identify different trends and moving quite quickly?
Yeah. So apparently, it's funny. I saw an email or like a message this morning that. It's quite funny. Apparently, there's a trend in cheese right now. So people cooking with cheese is apparently. Have you seen that? Okay, sorry. There's someone in the front row, for those who can't see, who knows more about TikTok than I do, so it's awesome. But no, there's apparently a trend with cheese that's blowing up. Other things that are really interesting to us are, kind of the style of creativity. So obviously dance is, a big part of TikTok's DNA, but we're seeing kind of like travel or cooking. People are doing more and more in sports or education. So trends tend to vary in lots of different ways, for sure.
Let's talk a bit now about the role TikTok is starting to play in the music industry. I would like to have a sense of the conversation you might have with record labels or artists. I think lots of tracks get discovered on TikTok.
Yeah.
You play a big role in the, but also I wondered if TikTok was not fostering a very short attention span on songs. And there's this example of, I was mentioning about Fleetwood Mac, with I don't know, it might be 10 seconds of it. And do you think people go and listen to the entire, every millennial knows about this old song, and do you think they then go on Spotify and listen to it?
Yeah.
So discoverability and the change of nature of how people consume music because of TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a couple of things to break down in your question. So I think part of the reason why music has been so music has been incredibly popular on TikTok, and as a result, TikTok is incredibly kind of important to music, is because what TikTok allows fans to do is to create, content that they love to music that inspires them and inspires other people. And so the analogy I like to think of is, when I was younger, if I was walking down the street and like I walk past a really cool shop and I hear a song for like 20 seconds, or a car pulls up at the traffic lights and you hear a song, briefly and whatever, and that inspires you and it sticks with you because of the way music is created or used on the platform, it's very passive, and it's often accompanied by someone's creative output too. So what that creates on TikTok is a really amazing opportunity for music, because you almost have, when a song goes viral on TikTok and there's, you know, millions of different people using your video, it's almost like you've got a million music marketeers who are making all this content and spending time to create videos that they're letting everyone know about it, and music is part of that. And then to the second part of your question about attention span, what TikTok has kind of proven kind of time over time again is that when things become popular on TikTok, people want to find out more about them, and so they will go to platforms like Apple and Spotify, listen to the music, and that's referenced by just the amount of songs that have become popular on TikTok and then end up at #1 in the charts. So to the point around Fleetwood Mac, I believe, and I might need slight correction on this after this, but I'm 99% sure this is true. After their moment on TikTok, they had their highest position in the chart for 40 years. Similar, talking of 40 years, similarly, we worked very closely with ABBA when ABBA decided to release their album after 40 years. And what we saw is this incredible engagement on the platform. And then off the platform, that people then, after experiencing, you know, ABBA in a really creative and authentic way on TikTok, obviously everyone is very excited to go and listen to the new record as well. So I think the two things very much complement one another. It's the awareness, and the great thing about TikTok is then that often follows into a deeper connection with the artist.
Yeah, it's interesting what you said about the millions of marketeers.
Yeah.
Would you say that user-generated content do way more than a short video that a music label or an artist would do himself? Do they even bother doing that?
I mean, I think it's all about authenticity, to be honest. You know, nobody knows themselves better than the actual artist. So I think an artist who can, as I mentioned earlier, an artist who can, you know, decrypt TikTok for them and work out how they can, you know, present themselves on the platform. We've seen time and time again they do incredibly well. Like, one of my favorite artists on TikTok in France is Booba, because it's sort of not how you expect to see Booba, and he's awesome, and I love his TikTok. So there's a huge role that there's a huge opportunity that artists have to be on the platform and to be connecting with the audience. Also because, you know, the TikTok community, time and time again, they really appreciate when artists demonstrate that they're, you know, knowledgeable around the passion for their music. And an example of that, kind of going back a year or so, would be something like Mariah Carey Obsessed, which became a huge hit on TikTok and then was slowly starting to slow down. And then Mariah Carey made a video on TikTok acknowledging the community in this incredible moment, and then it shoots up again. So there's a very important role that artists also play in the platform.
And do you have an aggregate number of the role TikTok plays in helping people discover new music? You published a study saying that 80% of TikTok users say that it is their preferred platform to discover music. But more generally, how big is TikTok in terms of compared to radio or television or other social networks in terms of helping people discover new songs?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's we wouldn't have the exact number that you'd like there, but when you take a step back and we have 1 billion monthly active users, and 80% of those prefer TikTok to discover music, it kind of demonstrates like the point. And I think all of us in this room and you know, those watching online, I think we can all admit that, you know, after spending 5 minutes on TikTok, you always tend to find something, you discover something, and it is a really, really brilliant place for music to live and to start out.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell us about so TikTok is big for music. What are the other areas where TikTok is becoming a force?
Well, I think for me, it's about creativity in general. That's what really I think makes TikTok such a special place. I think, it was funny. I was talking about this just before I came onto the stage, and what really interested me about TikTok when I was looking at the company before I worked here, and I joined like 2 years ago, was you could really see that the way people wanted to communicate with one another was evolving, and there was a new wave of how people want to present ideas and messages to one another. And with TikTok, it's a very creative, authentic, and we work very hard to make it so a very happy place and positive place, we feel. And so I think that is the impact that TikTok's having in music. I would extend that to creativity in general. And I would also then extend that to, areas such as sport. We, sponsored the Euros in the summer, Euro 2020, and that was a really brilliant example of, not, working with a great partner like the Euros, or UEFA, sorry, but also being able to really have a creative, entertaining take on the football. So not only the games, but also what was happening around the games, the conversation, the players, and obviously music again played a huge part in that. And we even had like a chart of the most popular songs being used in football videos like over the summer. So it really encapsulates the whole conversation. Or similarly, food is incredibly popular on TikTok. And if you and I were having a conversation 5 to 10 years ago, and I said to you, hey, I'm going to teach you how to cook
in 15
spaghetti
seconds,
carbonara in 30 seconds. You'd be like, you can't do that. That's not possible. But there's an incredible creativity now, and people share recipes really quickly, and it's brilliant.
Yes. Has TikTok bought any sports rights anywhere in the world? I mean, the rights to show excerpts of sport events?
No, not to my knowledge. No, not to my knowledge. We have.
Is it something that could happen?
I mean, to my knowledge, we've not entered into sports rights agreements. We do have obviously great partnerships with clubs and athletes themselves and the associations. Whether TikTok could get directly into sports rights business, I think it's a great question. To me, it would be how can you do that in a creative and compelling way?
Yes. What do you give leeway for the length of videos? I think at the beginning it was more like 6 seconds, wasn't it? And now it seems to be more flexible. And what works best? And do you feel it's in your interest to have longer videos?
It's interesting. It's about choice. That's what we've learned at TikTok. So I think there's, when I joined TikTok, the clips were limited to 1 minute, and then last year we extended that to 3 minutes. And what's really interesting to me is that it's allowing the audience to be more creative and tell different stories in different ways. So I think to me it boils down to choice. Having longer videos does not mean people will stop making shorter ones, if that makes sense. Yeah. It just means there's more scope to experiment.
So what's the longest?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. Can you tell me what are the advertising formats on TikTok?
Yeah, sure. So we have the advertising formats are predominantly within the For You feed. So there's we have like a ad buying system whereby you can buy clearly marked advertising placements in the For You feed. That's generally speaking, and then there'll be other formats like on the Discover page as a banner.
Ok. Je ne sais pas s'il y a des questions dans la salle déjà. Enfin, après, allez-y peut-être. Je ne sais pas s'il y a un micro. Il n'y a personne. Allez-y, je la répéterai. Paul, what was your job before being hired by TikTok?
Oh, I worked at YouTube. Sorry? YouTube. Yeah, YouTube. Okay, for how long? For almost 5 years. And then you quit and yeah. Because 2 years ago it wasn't the same as today, so you were like a visionary of I think you're being very kind saying I'm a visionary, but no, it was, again, funnily enough, was having this conversation with someone just before. To me, what was, because I used to work at MTV, then I worked at YouTube, then I moved to TikTok, and what really interested me about TikTok was it felt like a once in a 10-year, once in a generation change. It was just the way people wanted to communicate with one another was changing. So, when you think about, like, I don't know, like rewind back a couple of years and it's all like very professional and, like the Louis Vuitton bag, and that's how, there's a lot of social pressure that goes with that. And what I've found really interesting about TikTok was people wanted to communicate in a more creative way, and amazingly, people really loved that. People wanted to be positive and they wanted to celebrate each other's creativity, and then music played a huge role in that creative process. So that's what really attracted me to the job.
Okay. Any other questions? Oh, there's one there. Yes.
Do you think TikTok is also changing the way creators are creating music? I saw some YouTubers, for example, that are looking for a big audience on TikToks, and by only creating a catchy chorus, for example, and not looking for big audience on the long term, but one catchy part and one very good song on the platform, but not on Spotify, for example, only on TikToks, trying to reach the greatest audience.
Yeah. So I think all artists are in some way, shape, or form influenced by the technologies of the day. So to answer your question, artists influenced in their music creation process by TikTok, I mean, you only have to look at the radio edit and the way artists had to change their songs to sort of 3.5 minutes to fit on the radio. So I think there'll always be like influence, and they'll, artists will always take influence, but my personal opinion is that the art is the art, and an artist should never compromise their art for any platform or to try and somehow be successful on a platform. It should be, the art should always come first. And that being said, yeah, with TikTok, what we see is not just what people might assume, like catchy choruses become viral. It can be like emotive lyrics. It can be the start of a song. There's so many different examples of music becoming popular for very different reasons on the platform that I think it could be a dangerous path to go down to try and guess what that's going to be in your work, is my opinion.
Carry on.
I was just going to ask if there was like, for an artist, when his music is used on the platform, what goes back to him as an artist? Like, how does it work? Probably because Spotify has some particular sponsorship, like deals with the artists when they post music. What is Musically's? Oh, sorry, TikTok, not Musically anymore, but TikTok's.
Yeah, so we have agreements in place with all the major rights holders. Those agreements are confidential, and the agreement between the rights holders and the artist is confidential. So but we are fully licensed and we have all the agreements in place.
Is it on a pro rata basis on the number of seconds a song goes in a video, or how, roughly what's the principle of the agreement you've got with major companies and or labels and their artists?
Yeah, so the principles are essentially like we are in agreement to license their whole catalogue off the platform,
right?
And then they will work out how they. Yeah.
For a given amount.
Yes.
So it's more top down.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And is it linked to the growth of your advertising revenues for the future?
I couldn't really go into too many specifics on it, other than just to say that it's an agreement in place that's made, and it's usually a 1-2 year contract.
Okay, and it's interesting you've been to YouTube before. I wondered, do you pay some content creators on TikTok to help them generate more audience?
Yeah, and we have, there's a number of different creator initiatives that, creators on TikTok are, the most, they're our most important partners, for the platform, and alongside our user community. And we're continually working on ways to partner with them.
Okay. We've got a question from Will Page of the previous session.
Yeah, just in my presentation, I flagged the famous Reed Hastings comment of sleep is our biggest form of competition at Netflix. And in my book, I explore why is TikTok potentially winning and Netflix could actually be losing. And my theory is that with Netflix, you don't have to do anything to get to the next episode. You just vegetate on your sofa and it queues it up. There's no human interaction involved to get to that next episode. Whereas on TikTok, you have to involve by swiping. And in academia, this is called flow theory, of the right balance of friction and enjoyment. Do you ever think about why it is? What's the secret source behind TikTok's success? Is it something to do with the fact you have to lean in and actually engage to get the next content?
Well, first of all, I think the product itself is incredible. Like the actual TikTok product, from a tech perspective, I think the way the algorithm works and the amount of content that the algorithm kind of seamlessly delivers in 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or whatever, is really incredible. I think there's a lot to do with 9/16, I think, is really interesting. So
what is that?
Oh, sorry. I think the vertical format is really interesting. I think that's a hugely kind of interesting facet of TikTok, because I think when you see something in portrait, I think it directly kind of I think it provides a deeper emotional connection, personally. There's a couple of different reasons, but I think to Will's point, if you were to compare to Netflix, I think Netflix is a very lean back, and TikTok is much more kind of lean forward.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you very much, Paul. It's been a pleasure. And on to the next session. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for having me, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.